The Tao of Self-Confidence, episode 146. Welcome to the Tao of Self-Confidence, where I share stories of successful women finding their inner journey to self-confidence 5 days a week. Subscribe to our newsletter by visiting thetaoofselfconfidence.com. Well, hello friend, welcome to the Tao of Self-Confidence, where I share stories of amazing women who have discovered their inner journey to self-confidence. I'm your host today, Sheena Yap Chan, and today I have a special lady who's all the way from Jamaica. She is a dentist. She's also has her own successful podcast. She's also a speaker and an author, and I'm just glad she's here today to share her story with us, share her tips on self-confidence. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce you to Anissa Holmes. Anissa, how are you today? Maybe you can fill in a little bit more about yourself to the listeners.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me on the show today, Sheena. Like you said before, I am a dentist. I've been a dentist for about 16 years now, and I've grown a really successful practice based on good, sound business principles, building an amazing culture, putting in systems, and developing my brand. And as you said before, I am now doing a podcast, which is the Delivering While Dental podcast. And really, my why behind that is that I wanted to look at how I could really leave a legacy and help other people to achieve the goals and success that we've achieved in the practice. So that's sort of what I've got going on. I've got a book that's coming out in a few months as well, which is called Delivering While, helping dentists to create fascinating brands and really look at building better practices.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing that. And what's your cultural background?
Right. So I am actually from New Orleans. I live in Jamaica, like you said before. My husband is Jamaican. And so we've been here for about 10 years. He thought he could make the biggest impact coming back home. He's an oral surgeon. So we met when we were in school. But I am actually originally from New Orleans. And New Orleans has a very interesting culture because we are really quite a blend of many different cultures. So, of course, we have a Caribbean influence in terms of backgrounds from, Haiti and Cuba, and also from, French Canadian as well. And they call it really like Creole. And it's really a mixture of many different cultures. So we have a very unique type of food and music, and it's really a very interesting and dynamic culture.
I love New Orleans, and it's right. Like the energy there is totally different, but it's fun. Like, just the food too is like great. So it's like, right. It's hard.
Absolutely. I mean, it's like you're in the U.S., but you're like not in the U.S. So I know you're in Hawaii, and it's that sort of feel, so it's really laid back and a lot like Jamaica as well. Maybe that's why, I love living here so much. But it's really laid back and, you really focus on quality of life, which is really cool.
Yeah, totally. I totally agree with you on that. And Anissa, what would be your favorite self-confidence quote?
Wow. I think it's really, once you have a dream and, and you achieve it, and you believe it, you can achieve it. And to me, it's really that, sometimes people think really small and they don't think that they can achieve their goals or their dreams. But I believe that once you really have that big vision, that big goal, all you have to do is just write it down and you will find the way, to reach all of your goals and all of your dreams. And so if you don't know how to do something, it's okay. So for example, when I started my podcast, I didn't know anything about podcasting. I didn't know what microphone to get. I didn't know anything. When I decided I wanted to write a book, I didn't know anything about writing a book, putting it on Kindle and all of these things. But, I just had a dream and I had a vision. And I knew that once I wrote down what I wanted to do and I set myself with a deadline, I would be able to find people to help me to achieve my dreams.
Awesome quote. And I truly believe that too. Once you believe in it and, like you truly believe in yourself, you can do anything, like anything's possible. And, I can relate with you when it comes to podcasting because I didn't even know what a podcast was when I first started. And,
right.
Having all the technical stuff, it really like got me a little flustered. But I mean, I just kept going, right? Just pushing through. And so, it's just like, you don't have to know everything. You just have this big vision, this big why, and you just keep going and, magic happens. So thanks for sharing that quote. And in your own words, how would you define self-confidence?
Well, I think self-confidence means that you can achieve all of your goals. And, a lot of times perhaps we're coming from a background where people weren't really motivating us and pushing us, but knowing that, you have the ability to rise up and to achieve all of your dreams. It's really interesting because, I see a lot of, what happens in Jamaica here and also in the States where people say, well, I can't go to college, or, that's for other people, or I can't become like I'm a dentist. I can't become a doctor. That's for other people. And to me, I really don't like to hear people say that because, once you set your mind to anything, I can tell you, my family, there were no doctors in my family. No one was there to really have, be a mentor for me in that area. But it's just something that I knew that I wanted to achieve, and I would not let any excuse get in my way. And I mean, the great thing about, I know a lot of listeners may be listening in from America. The great thing is that once you work really hard, you can achieve all of your goals. There are student loans if you have to. I had to get loans, to go through dental school, but it was a way for me to achieve my dreams. So it's just really knowing that you can do anything that you want to do and not really, having that negative feedback come in your ear or in your brain.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing that. And it's true, right? Sometimes we don't come from backgrounds where, we have families that weren't entrepreneurs, weren't doctors, weren't, doing anything, but it doesn't, that doesn't define who you are. I mean, if there's something that you're passionate about and you can make a difference, I say just go for it, right?
Absolutely.
Life's too short, right? It was funny. I saw this mug on Facebook yesterday, and a lot of people out there are working a 9-to-5 job that they hate, and the mug said something like, "Life is too short. Don't work with assholes." Which I thought was fun. I know, which I thought was funny because life is too short, right? And then we let these things, get to us, right? We just think there's no other way, and so this is the only way we can do it. And there's so many different ways to create a life that you want, and spend time with the people who you really want to spend time with. So I love that definition. And what was your life like before your discovery of self-confidence?
Wow, I tell you, it's really interesting because, like I said, growing up in a family where there were not doctors, my dad was the first to finish college. It was really like, okay, well, what do I have to do? What do I have to learn? Part of my journey was really, again, just starting to believe in myself and knowing that if other people can do it, I can do it. And, coming from, a background, and I know things have changed. For example, when I was in dental school, there were challenges with me being a female with some of the professors. And, some of them gave me a hard time and, said, okay, well, you have to do the filling over and over and over again. Whereas classmates who were doing, in my opinion, lesser work were able to get away with what quality of work that they were submitting, before we were actually seeing patients. And it was very frustrating to me, to have this happen. But I just sort of pushed on and I said, you know what, it's okay. I have a dream and I'm going to achieve it. And, what actually happened is that, for example, in my last year of dental school, I was actually first in the class. I achieved more, or did more procedures than anyone else because I had to go through that challenge. And so I sort of saw the challenge, I really tried to just push through it and see it as an opportunity to really grow and to be better. And that's exactly what happened.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing that. And, sometimes life or the universe puts us in these situations where we feel like, why is the world being mean to us, or why is the world being unfair? When really it's just helping us realize how strong we can be. Sometimes I think we should be grateful for these situations because it shows us how much we can push through and, go beyond what you think, right? Like, in your dental school, teachers were giving you a hard time, but yet in the end, you were the top of your class, right? And maybe that might not have happened if the teacher didn't give you a hard time. I don't know. This is just,
No, you're absolutely right, Sheena, yeah. Because like I said, at first I was like, why are they giving me such a hard time? And some of them were a little bit, rude or, just for whatever reason. And, I just kept a positive attitude and just and pushed forward. But like you said, it helped me. It helped me when I had my first practice, when it didn't take me 2 hours to do a filling. I was able to be productive and do it in 30 minutes. And that allowed me to be more profitable in my business and have better success. And perhaps that's why I am where I am now.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing that. Other than, being the top of your class, like what's your life been like now?
Right. Well, I can tell you, I have really have had an amazing life, and it's because I designed it that way. And what I mean by that is, always looking at trying to put other people first. And in doing so, what I have found is that you will be successful. So, in my practice, the core, the center is the patient, the experience that they have. We put a lot of time into investing in my team, and I'm constantly praising them. And I think by really, lifting other people up, you're able to also achieve, success for yourself. But I think that's really the key.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing that. And I believe too, when you put the people first, that's when, you can receive that abundance. A lot of people out there, they're chasing the wrong things. And when we can just sit down and just ask ourselves, what can I give of value to my customers or to my clients or to my audience that can really help them make a difference? I just always believe you get it back tenfold. So, great stuff that you mentioned. And Anissa, if our listeners is, listening to your episode, she may be in her own journey to self-confidence, what would be that one tip you would give to her?
What I would say is just know that you can. And, just because, and you may be in an environment where no one is motivating you, but my tip is really to know that you can achieve every goal possible. So if your goal is to have, more time to spend with your family, then you make that a priority and you have that happen. If your goal is to make $1 million, if that's what you want, if that's your why, then you will be able to find a way to make that happen. You just have to really do, learning and research and training, and you can get there. And that's really, to me, that's really the key. That's the secret. Just knowing what you want out of life and just finding a way to get there. And sometimes that means that you have to learn, you have to read books, you have to get good mentors, you have to surround yourself with positive people. And I mean, that's another point as well. I can tell you, some of the friends that I had growing up, some of their visions might have been a little bit different than my vision. And as a result of it, when you look sometimes at some of these people, they haven't achieved their dreams. They haven't achieved really much versus where they were before. But all of the people that I see that are achieving their dreams, they really sort of put themselves a little bit in a bubble, and they just don't let the negative talk get in their head. And they just move forward, and they don't really care, what other people are saying. They just have a vision, and they're going to achieve it.
I love it. Thanks for sharing that. And it's true, right? Sometimes you just got to put the blinders on and just go.
Absolutely.
So I totally agree with you on that. And Anissa, if our listeners want to get to know a little bit more about you, want to listen to your podcast, is there any links or social media profiles we can connect with?
Absolutely. So my website is deliveringwell.com, and I'm on all sorts of social media, but the best way to learn more about all of the great things that I'm doing is going to my website, deliveringwell.com, or following me on Twitter, which is also at deliveringwell.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing that. And to our listeners, if you want to connect with Anissa, you can also head on over to the taoofselfconfidence.com and search for Anissa's name. Her show notes will pop up along with everything else we talked about. And I really just want to thank Anissa for taking the time to share her story and tips with us. So thank you so much.
Thanks so much for having me, Sheena.
Not a problem. It was an honor to have you on. And to our listeners, be on the lookout for another new episode of another amazing woman's journey to self-confidence. And we'll talk to you soon. Bye for now. Thank you for listening to another amazing episode of the Tao of Self-Confidence. Check out our resources to help you jumpstart your inner journey to self-confidence by visiting thetaoofselfconfidence.com.